Today, I want to talk to you about awkwardness and its value in your life. So first, I want to go back in history to why there are people in this world that hate awkward. So I grew up in the 80s. If you grew up in the 80s, then you know what I'm talking about. And I honestly think this happened even before the 80s, 70s, 60s. We basically, when people looked awkward or a little uncomfortable, we shamed them. We abused those people. You might have been abused at times when you felt awkward or uncomfortable. The actual feeling of awkward is just new, vulnerable. Those two things. It's unfamiliar. I haven't done this before. And I'm vulnerable because I don't know how to do this. That's what awkward is broken down. But when we attach shame to it, then it feels like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why do I do this? What was wrong with me? That's not awkward, that's shame. And so if you give awkward its own safe place in your life, which is just unfamiliar and vulnerable, it's different. I'm putting myself out there. And if you meet that with self-compassion, then here is the pathway to joy. So first, awkward, new, unfamiliar involves trying something new, putting yourself out there. So it can involve putting yourself out there by doing a speed dating. Okay, it's awkward, it's new, it's unfamiliar, it's a little uncomfortable, but it's just new and it's vulnerable. Those are the feelings. So being very kind to yourself through that, or through like a new activity, like when you first get on a bike, it's awkward, right? It's unfamiliar, it's new, it's fresh. It's vulnerable because you've never done it before. I don't know what this is going to be like. That's what I want you to hear. Like awkward is kind of a mix of those feelings. If you are very kind to yourself, like, it's okay, you don't know, just have some fun. Like that's the one thing I want everybody to hear about awkward. If you can meet it with, just have some fun. It's okay to not do it, right? Do the best you can, but like also it's okay to fuck it up. Like fuck it up, have fun fucking it up. If you meet awkward with that, then what happens is you can do it more than once. And anytime you do something once, the end result isn't going to be fun right away. The end result is going to be, okay, I did it. Like I did pickleball the other day, right? Like, and I was awkward, right? I was trying it. I definitely didn't get the game. I kind of hit the ball, kind of didn't. I didn't know the rules yet. So at the end, it was okay. I learned something, but I didn't like feel like, oh, I love that or I hate it. I just kind of felt like, I don't know. I need to do it again. I also believe in trying everything at least 3 times. So I say try everything thrice, because if you tried it 3 times, it at least gets familiar enough for you to decide if you like it. But anyhow, here's that awkward to joy path. So if you meet awkward with a lot of joy and playfulness, then what happens is you try it again. And the second time, it starts to be like, okay, it still feels new and vulnerable, but I feel a little more familiar with this. Okay, I can do this again. And at the end, you may have fun, you may not. It may still be in a neutral category, but that's why you need to do it again. Because then, so putting yourself out there, maybe it's flirting, maybe it's riding that bike or trying that new sport like pickleball. By the third time, you still feel that awkward, vulnerable. I don't know how to do this. It's new, it's different, it's unfamiliar. But by then it becomes familiar. And then it's familiar enough that you can actually have fun with it, where you're like, oh, I'm learning this. Oh, this is kind of nice. So what you're actually doing with this process, awkward, playful, and try again. Awkward, playful, try again, is you're starting to build competence. Competence is where you know it enough that you could actually enjoy it. But it's hard to fully enjoy an activity until you reach some sort of familiarity of like, okay, I'm familiar with this. I've done this before. I can do it again. This is actually how I approached networking, by the way. I'd never networked before. I went into this big room. There were all these people who were like, what do you do? Should I talk to people? Do they talk to me? Like the first time I did networking, it was completely awkward. But over time, you go again, you learn some of the skills, you develop familiarity, and then you develop competence. And the more you develop competence, like, oh no, I've got this now, at the end is confidence. Confidence comes after all of those steps. It's not right away with awkward. It's that process of learning and growing and developing and being super kind to yourself so you can learn new things. The confidence comes after putting yourself out there, and confidence is what creates joy. So that's the path. It's awkward, it's new, it's different, And it's even learning to believe in yourself that I'm capable of doing these things. Like that process of doing that over time in different ways, whether it's in sex, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your personal life, learning to just put yourself out there and learn to trust yourself. And at like the deepest level, that's why you get joy, because you start learning to trust yourself and believe you can do anything. One thing I want every one of you to hear is that the only person who holds you back in your life is you. And it's usually through that space right there and how you treat yourself through awkwardness. But that's all I got. If you want to see me, visit me at therapistintstlouis.com. You can like and subscribe, and also please comment below.